Okay, show of hands. Who here was at one point not a fan of the 996 generation of 911? Yep, okay, confession time. I was a hater when the 996 came out. I felt that Porsche had jettisoned one of the most critical elements of the 911's design DNA, that was being the headlights. Now, history has told us there was a whole bunch of reasons for them doing that, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. I think the 996's position in the 911 story is actually a fantastic one. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to be driving this 996 and see if I can put the final nail in the coffin of the prejudice that I've always felt towards it. Now, before we get into that, guys, I'm dropping a lot of Porsche content on the channel. I want to make sure you don't miss any of it. So hit that subscribe button down below, somewhere here, and the notification button so you know when the content drops. Anyway, let's roll that intro. Hey gang, welcome to the channel. My name is Andy. Okay, so behind me is my friend's 996. It's a Gen 1 996. Now, he'll tell you that when he bought the car, it was very much dentist spec. However, since buying it, he's set about changing that focus into something far more single-minded. A car that you can tear up the hills with, hammer through the twisties, and have an absolute blast in, and he's done a beautiful job. Instead of chasing horsepower upgrades, he's really gone for handling upgrades. Suspension, sway bars, wheels, tyres, all of that great stuff that makes it a car that you can carry momentum with. And he's also set about changing the look of the car, making aesthetic modifications that have really given it an extra presence on the road. It could almost be the perfect 911. Okay, I did say almost perfect. As you may have guessed, this car's a Tiptronic, a tipper. Now, I have to confess that in the past, I think I've probably been a bit judgmental about Tiptronics and certainly had a level of prejudice towards those who would buy one. After all, why would you buy an automatic when you can buy a manual and spend your time rowing through the gears? It's got to be more fun. Well, I can tell you that the guy that owns this car is about as hardcore a Porsche enthusiast as you would ever meet. Now, I can also tell you he drives the wheels off this thing. And the question becomes, is it any good? Well, yeah, it's really good. It's fantastic. You get past the Tiptronic thing, and there's a really simple reason for that, and that's because the owner has made a whole bunch of modifications to this car that make it corner like it is on rails. The steering in this car is an absolute revelation. I can't tell you how good it is. Genuinely just fantastic. So what he's done is, instead of chasing horsepower as a lot of people do, he's tried to make the car corner and handle better. And he's done a fantastic job. The car's running Koni Sport shocks. I've got to say, they're quite stiff. They're a little bit crashy in some spots, but they work beautifully. It's on I-bar lowering springs and I-bar sway bars, and that combination works really, really well. But then he's combined that also with these gorgeous OZ racing wheels and Michelin Pilot Sport 2 tires, and the combination just works so incredibly well. It's a revelation to me. The feeling of the steering, it's go-kart direct. It's just absolutely, it's really quite special. The other thing that really adds to the impressive handling of this car is the way that the cockpit is set up. It's got these fantastic Recaro pole position seats. They hold you so incredibly well. They're very comfortable. A little more upright than I'm used to, but that might just be something you adjust to. and then he's fit a Momo Mod 7 steering wheel. Anybody who's watched my channel before knows that I really love the Momo Mod 7 wheel. I just think it's got the perfect dish. And again, that just translates a little more steering feel, and certainly the reduced diameter of this steering wheel over the stock steering wheel, again, just adds to the sense of directness. I think the handling on this car is its absolute trump card. So let's talk about the elephant in the room then, the Tiptronic. It's good. Like, it's not brilliant, right? It's not a PDK, and it's certainly not a manual. And the way you have to drive it is just be a little more thoughtful about your shifts, because it doesn't react with the rapid fire response that you get from, say, the PDK. As I'm going up through the gears, I shift a moment, maybe a second, half a second, before I actually want the car to shift, but just keep the right foot buried. And that way, it takes its time working out what it's going to do, and then it shifts. It still gets up and boogies, it still goes. The other thing that the owner has done to this car, which I think makes a huge difference to how enjoyable the Tiptronic is to use, is he's actually fitted some aftermarket paddle shifters. So rather than having to use the ridiculous buttons that Porsche insisted on fitting in their cars for such a long time, you get to use a paddle shift. And paddle shift makes these kind of gearboxes just so much more enjoyable. I put paddle shift on my 991 for exactly that reason. So what my friend Alan has built in this car is a highly performance focused, enjoyable, fun car. And you know what? The Tiptronic thing, would it be my first choice? No. Would it be my second choice? No. I would have a manual every day of the week, and I'd have a PDK. But in buying a Tiptronic, the owner of this car was able to get a bunch of features and condition of the vehicle and low kilometers that he just felt he couldn't achieve in buying a manual. He drives the wheels off it, has a great time, and I can tell you that, having always been somewhat dismissive of the Tiptronic, you can buy a Tiptronic and still have a bloody good time, and that's the bottom line with this car. So 2 questions for me out of this. Would I buy a 996? Yeah, absolutely. And I was one of the haters, but honestly, if you're a 996 hater, get over it. These things, it's a 911. It's a killer car. So yep, 996, I'm 100% on board. Big fan. Can you have fun in a Tiptronic, and can you enjoy it in the hills? And the answer to that, from my experience in this car, is an absolute resounding yes. You get to have the Porsche 911 experience in spades, even in a Tiptronic. Anyway, big thanks to my friend Alan for lending me this car and letting me drive it for a few days. It's been a hoot, and like I say, I'm going to dream about this steering. And a big thanks to you guys, as always, for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I respond to them all. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next one.